In the modern world, North and South Korea have become two countries, but in fact, before that, they were always part of one country until after World War II, due to some special reasons. The two countries were separated. The 38th parallel was set as the boundary between North and South Korea, and a large number of troops were stationed here to guard it. If this 38th parallel were to be opened up now, allowing people from the two neighboring countries to migrate freely, what do you think the people of these two countries would choose? The original Korean peninsula was actually one country, but now it is divided into two major countries, North and South Korea. Although it is now divided into two countries, its people are still one nation. Among the Koreans, they first used a 38th parallel with no legal significance as a boundary, but around this line, there are North Korea and South Korea. These two major countries have deployed a large number of troops here to prevent the people of the two countries from communicating with each other. Do you know where the so-called 38th military line came from? That's where we need to start from the end of World War II. In 1945, the Soviet Red Army quickly advanced to the northern part of the Korean peninsula. At that time, the US had to make strategic adjustments and had to prevent the Soviet Union from taking over the peninsula. Therefore, these two superpowers, the US and the Soviet Union, reached a consensus at an international conference, established the 38th parallel as a temporary military demarcation line. Among them, the northern part of the peninsula was taken over by the Soviet Union. The southern part was taken over by the United States. After that, although the US and the Soviet Union, the Cold War between the two superpowers intensified. Although this line was not a legal border, it became an important temporary military line. It also became the most important line of division between the two blocks. The most important line of division between the two blocks. Thus, South Korea, supported by the US, and North Korea, supported by the Soviet Union, were established one after another. Established, thereby making the Korean peninsula, a region originally divided among different countries, divided into two countries with opposing positions. From then on, the 38th parallel became an important boundary separating the two countries. Both countries stationed large amounts of military forces here, preventing people from crossing it. In 1950, North Korea launched a war to reclaim South Korea. As the war escalated, the 38th parallel could not stop the two countries, but after the war ended, this line was resecured. No one is allowed to approach. Now assume we open this 38th parallel. Allow the people of both countries to migrate freely. What do you think about South Korea and North Korea? The citizens of these two countries, what choices would they make? I believe in the eyes of most people, if we were to open this 38th parallel, it would definitely be the residents of North Korea who would flee to South Korea. But is it really the case? Actually, that's not quite right, because once it's opened, the real situation would actually be more complicated. We all know South Korea's current economic strength is far ahead of North Korea. But at first, North Korea's strength was far superior to South Korea's. At that time, not only did the Soviet Union help its national development, North Korea itself had better geographical conditions or resource endowments than South Korea. So before the 1970s, North Korea's development was in a favorable position. He said after the 1970s, South Korea's economic level experienced rapid growth, even began to show signs of surpassing North Korea. Later, it became one of the Asian four dragons. Gradually, the distance between these two countries is growing larger. Until now, South Korea has become one of the world's most well-known developed countries. Many of its industries hold a place in the world. In contrast, North Korea today, it is a rare country in the modern world that is implementing an isolationist policy. Its domestic economic level compared to South Korea is significantly behind. Moreover, South Korea's employment, education or entertainment sectors are more developed than North Korea. So if the 38th parallel were completely opened, more North Koreans would migrate to South Korea. But this situation would only happen initially because there are significant differences between North and South Korean societies in all aspects. When North Koreans move to South Korea, they face many pressures of modern society. such as renting apartments and working overtime. Some can adapt to South Korean society and stay. However, more people return to North Korea after staying in South Korea for a while. May return to North Korea. After all, the pressure of modern society is not something everyone can handle. For example, on January 1st, 2022, some former defectors returned to North Korea. It shows that the reality is always more complicated. Overall, it is the case. Looking at the current situation, it is still that more people from North Korea are going to South Korea.